Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast, episode 108. It is going to be primarily a catch-up with myself and Reese, who'd have thought it, the people who run the podcast. And it's also going to be a Q&A episode, because we have quite a few questions, thank you for sending questions in, that we didn't get back to from the episode with Sanaya. And then we also put a questions box up today as well. Did you get many questions?
I haven't checked.
I think I've got a few, but we've got quite a few from last week. So I thought pretty much this episode will be a Q&A.
Oh, okay. I thought that's... By the way you described the podcast, that's like what we've been doing for the last 100 and...
Not really, because...
episodes.
If you think about it, we for a lot of episodes, we have like 30, 40 minutes before we even get into any questions. I reckon today we've got less to catch up on.
Okay.
Did you think?
You said there wasn't like, you could be like, oh, it's a catch-up. So I was like, oh, so it's a normal podcast. It's just me and you.
Yeah, but like last week wasn't normal because we had tonight.
Well, the first part was just a catch-up.
Yeah,
and then
the
it
second
was...
and third episode.
Yeah, but the one before that, I imagine that was pretty much a normal podcast. It was
not really, because we've been chatting about prep and stuff.
Nah, so what, this isn't no prep talk?
Not as much.
Right, guys, we're not talking about bodybuilding.
I feel like you're sat a lot further forward than me.
Shall we sat further back? I need to be getting myself back
Get yourself
into
in that tree.
Yeah, back into the tree. Right, so, how's life, mate?
Good.
How's everything?
It was good until you fucking wound me up in that last minute.
Finn's getting preppy.
Sound when I'm on my own.
Finn's getting preppy. He's
Absolutely
getting
fine if I'm not surrounded by you. No, I'm all good, mate. I'm joking. I feel good today. Yesterday was good. We haven't had a proper catch up, so I trained at Intent yesterday. So it always takes me longer than I think. Every time I think it's about 45-50 minutes. It's an hour and 10.
Yeah,
it's longer.
An hour,
but no, it was good. Obviously went to see Ryan Brambleby, Mr. Ryan _ Physique Collective, I think his name is on Instagram. Just went through some posing, like little tweaks on mandatories, and then just sort of, I've already got my routine how I kind of wanted it, but I just wanted him to help with like little tweaks towards the end of it, which was good. So just need to keep practicing that. Still got plenty of time, so still 10 and a half weeks from the first main show, so still ages really. But yeah, feeling good.
The same routine for every show.
Depends how it goes, because like I really like the song and
Yeah.
I do like how the routine looks. But then the thing is, like, I wouldn't post about it probably until like after the season's done. You know what I mean? I'll probably post the routine once the season's over.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be posting it after like the first warm-up show. You know what I mean? It's kind of like wasted. It's kind of like, oh, it's done now. Like, I should probably do a new one. Yeah. But it depends. Like, if I feel like I've got the time, which probably won't, but if I want to tweak it or change the song and stuff at the end, maybe I will. Like for the finals and stuff, if there's a song that comes to mind, I'm like, oh, that sounds fucking mint. Just steal someone else's song. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully no one's got the same song as me. Maybe they have. Doesn't really matter, does it? Nobody really cares. No. But no, I quite like the song.
Do you get judged on it in the UK games?
No, I think
for photos. And
it's for photos,
content.
And like you don't get judged on it as such because you're not obviously being compared against somebody. So you could look incredible on your own, but then when you get compared to somebody else, it's like, oh, actually, he's a lot smaller or he's a lot softer or whatever. So you don't properly get compared on it. But I still think like. It depends. If it's really good, the judges will appreciate it. You know, if it's like shit, they don't care. They're not watching you anyway. They're doing their judging. They're working out the scores from what they've just watched when they're actually comparing. Yeah. So yeah, it's not for that though, is it? It's for getting photos for sort of your friends and family that are going to be there and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to
demonstrating the amount of graft you put in over
the routine.
Through the whole prep and the whole period prior.
It's going to be good though. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the routine, to be fair. Yeah, it still needs like a lot of practice, but I'm pretty happy with it.
Have you videoed it at all?
Yeah, but I'm not like it's not.
What am I going to see? Because I haven't seen.
Maybe I'll surprise you.
I don't want to do this. You did this last time about the song. Finn last time he was like, I'm not telling you the song till I step on stage.
I've told you the song, I think.
Yeah, you told me
the song.
But before, Finn was like, in his last prep, his only prep, for his only show, he was like, I'm not telling you the song. I'm not telling. And I was like, and he did the same with his car. When he got his car, he's like, I'm not telling you the car. I'm like, Finn, I don't care. Just tell me. Show me.
Exactly why. If you don't care, why do you need to know?
No. I don't care about the weight. I do care. But I don't care about the weight. It's like, just show me.
I'm trying to just tease you.
No, it's not teasing. I just like it. I'm like, yeah, well, fair enough. Like, I'll ask.
Well, exactly. But I don't care if you know. So you don't need to know.
You should. I'm your best mate. And I'm asking, can I see it? And out of respect for that, you go, okay, yeah, sure. Have you got it on video?
You didn't show me your routine.
because I made it up on the spot pretty much.
I could tell.
No, I got told my posing routine. They were like, "Oh, you're confident."
It wasn't
like,
classic.
Yeah, it wasn't classic. It was literally just. I said to Sanaa, I want to get the first pose nailed, which I knew I was going to come out and hit. Like, I actually did something different for the PC. I tried something different, but most of it I knew kind of what I was doing. But I was like, "Go freestyle."
Yeah, see, I don't want to do that though, because I want to make sure that it actually hits the beats and stuff. So your song was a bit easier to do that too, I think.
Yeah, I could just literally, like, you could hit the build up and just go, oh yeah, I've hit a side try, or I'm going to hit a side chest at this point.
With my song, it's like, if you're not
on
the beat, it'll probably look a bit weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just keeps building up.
Yeah.
No, I'll show you it once I filmed it properly. I filmed it a bit yesterday, but it's not, like, done yet. I'll just show you in person.
Wow, I get to see it in person. Amazing. So lucky. So yeah. So other than that, trained it in 10?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's always a good session there, but it's always like it's a good vibe, but it's a weird vibe.
It is a good vibe.
It's always like it just doesn't feel like a gym.
Yeah,
like,
I got that. Yeah.
So it's like I felt like I trained, but then afterwards it almost felt like I hadn't trained. Like even though it was a good session, like I got a lot out of it. Yeah, they had music on and everything, but it's just a different vibe. Like in between each set, I was chatting with Tom, and like he finished before me, so like we went through some posing and stuff. So it's like my session was a bit broken up, but it was still good.
I found that when I trained there, it was very like broken up, and it was
you're constantly chatting with the people.
I almost just want to like sometimes like I'm not saying you can't get in and just get your head down and train, but it's very much like a family sort of gym there.
Yeah, but you definitely can, because I did have a really good session. The music was good, and it is just like get in and crack on. But then I think just because if me and Tom would have trained at the same time and we'd have finished and posed and stuff at the same time, I think it'd have felt it. It just felt like obviously it was a bit broken up towards the end. But no, it was good. And then I went through, it was like an hour of posing with Ryan.
Yeah.
Well, it was a really good day actually. Really nice. Like, the weather makes it a lot nicer as well. Obviously, I'm not one to moan when it's shit weather, but I'm one to like appreciate nice weather. So like in the last few days, it's been really nice and sunny. It's like when I'm on a drive, I just feel good.
Yeah, I think you do. I think the first few days when it gets sunny, you're like, oh, I feel good. And then by the end of the summer, you take it for
granted. How many times have you like said to people about managing their sleep in the heat or drinking more at the minute? I feel like every check-in I'm saying the same thing.
For me, like, in the sense of people like, it's hot, I don't want to eat, I'm not as hungry, and it's like, yeah, okay, I can understand, but just get your food down.
I find it mental that people make out it's such a big deal, like it's such a massive issue. Like it's just a bit hot, like crack on. No, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a client. I won't name names, but I had a client who put in his sheets too hot to walk. So he did like half his steps, and next to his steps
I had a client
too hot to walk. And I said, I'll proper call him out on it in the check-in. I was like, mate, that's embarrassing.
I'll say names. Pat, I'm calling you out. Pat, he didn't train on Monday because of sunburn. He was like, I couldn't train, didn't want to affect my skin. And I said to him, my entirety of coaching, I was like, I looked at his photos this morning, I was like, so it's Thursday. So
were they really bad or
no? Couldn't even see.
Yeah.
It was just like, didn't really know. It was noticeable. Like there was some not discoloration, but even red in some areas. But it wasn't like, oh my god, you have been absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. If it was like
3 days later and it's horrendous. But yeah, he didn't train on Monday, and I was like, yeah, this isn't good enough, bro. I was like, sort it out, Pat. Get it sorted. No, a lot of people though are like, oh, Monday it was really hot, wasn't it? It's like, yeah, it was hot. Also, like Sunday, because it was hot on Sunday, a lot of people went out and were drinking, and then on Monday feel like shit and go, oh, it's too hot. So no, it's just you didn't really manage it that well, did you? And like people were like, oh, it's Sunday. On Monday, I think I had like 2 or 3 people check in late. And like I knew every single one of them like will have been drinking, like, and not like getting smashed, but just enjoying themselves on a Sunday, which is fine. Like in beer gardens or whatever, like enjoying themselves. It's cool, but like you still need to make sure you're doing the basics. Like if that was me, I'll just check in first thing. I'm out today. I'm gonna be out all day today, so I'm checking in now. Yeah, so like I'll check in a day early. Like it does annoy me when it's like, oh well, it was sunny. It's like it's not an excuse to like change your whole routine just because it's a bit sunny. I don't have anybody checking late on Monday or so. I think my Mondays were pretty sound. I don't know, I didn't really think too much of it. I think because I was in Spain last week.
If you had 3 people checking late, you'd go, what's going on? Then you go, oh yeah, it was sunny yesterday and people have been out.
I haven't really noticed it, but then also, like, I'm still really lean, so I haven't actually been like that. I went for a walk on Sunday and I was like, oh, I'm still pretty, like,
it's nice, I'm not too hot, but I've not been cold yet. Like, you know that feeling when you're like really cold throughout a press?
Yes.
I haven't.
That's one thing I don't think we've actually spoke about, but that's like genuinely something that got so frustrating. In every situation, I was like going out for a walk and it's like 20 degrees and I'm like in joggers. I've had people comment like when I'm walking around like my village, like, you're alright, like, you know it's sunny, like, Reece, you know it's hot. I'm like, yeah, I'm freezing cold. And like more so how your body changes. Like I'll be sat doing check-ins and I'll be like, okay, I'll put on like three or four layers just to sit in my chair, and then I'll be like, I'm still cold. Like,
I don't think I'll have that, to be fair, especially with the fact that it, like, for you, what was it, maybe April, when you were like getting pretty lean, maybe even like March, April, when you were getting,
it was the start of April,
and it wasn't hot then, like, whereas now, like, probably throughout the rest of the summer, it's not going to be cold, so I imagine I'll be alright. It'll be at the back end, when it starts getting a bit cooler again, like September, October time, when it starts to cool down again, that's when I'll probably be like, fuck, I'm freezing.
So it kind of works out well, because I did my last prep obviously, and it was like through the summer, so I didn't really notice it that much. But this time it was like, Jesus Christ.
Imagine if you prepped properly through winter.
Too wet for steps.
Yeah,
too cold for steps. Too cold for steps. God, no. But no, I went for a nice walk on Sunday. Monday was a rest day, and Tuesday we trained. It was our first training session back, wasn't it? Rather, I say first. Was that our first? Yeah, I think it was the first.
No, we trained on Friday, but.
Yeah, that was a horrendous session.
Yeah, you were embarrassing.
The worst session of my life. God, we'll skip about. So, yeah, we trained together on Tuesday. It was our first session back fully at Rotherham. It was actually a session that I managed to actually train. I tried to train on Friday, and I did train, but I didn't really train. It was an absolutely horrendous session. Failed a 200 kilo pull from the floor, 0 rep max. Fantastic. Considering I pulled 300 kilos. I haven't hip hinged under 100 kilos since I was about 19, so I thought, yeah, I'll be sound, I'll be fine. It wasn't sound.
You mean body weight under 100 kilos?
Yeah.
You didn't do a set under 100 kilos. Yeah, just dropped it down to 80.
Yeah, I did 95 kilo today.
Did 1 rep max.
No, so yeah, I haven't deadlifted under 100 kilo body weight in since I was legitimately about 19. So I was like, oh yeah, I should be okay. Like, I feel a bit better. Food's in obviously a higher point. Turns out I can't deadlift really at all under 100 kilos. It just was horrendous. I did a double RDL, and then every single set felt like we did a pendulum together. And I did like 2.5 plates on it for like a warm up, and it moved well, but I just couldn't brace. So I was like, I'll just put a 5 on. Like, I'll probably take that for like a set of like 8 to 10. First rep moves like it was relatively okay. Second rep moves like I've got more reps, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do one more. Finn take off a 5. Finn takes off a 5.
The double drops.
Yeah, I think it was a triple drop set. I think.
We took off a 5. We took off the 10. We left it there.
Okay, and I basically just did like a double. I thought it was a triple drop actually, but. I thought it was a triple. Yeah. Anyway, I basically just did like a fair few drops because mechanically I unrack the weight and I go, yeah, it's nothing. Like,
also, it feels the profile on the pendulum. Yeah. Like, it is very, very difficult through the mid range. Yeah. And when you're not used to it, which you're not, it feels a lot harder than it is. Yeah.
And then it was literally a case where we did a few drops, and then I realised, God, I am horrendously weak. So yeah, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire. But Saturday's session was better for me, and then this week, like 2 sessions deep. A lot better, so yeah, training's very positive.
Yeah, Tuesday was good.
Yeah, Tuesday was good.
How was Sunday, Monday, back-to-back rest days? How did you feel?
Needed. I was absolutely ruined. Like,
did you want to train? Like, did you feel weird?
I feel like on Monday I was like, I usually train.
I think I'd find it strange.
Yeah, it was strange. It definitely, so I think I said on the last podcast, I'm not too sure. I'm training at 4 times brute frequency. I go away in 2 and a bit weeks. 2.5 weeks pretty much, but I also go away the week before, so I'm pretty much away like in 13 days. So I'm pretty much like just running 4 times per week training for the build up for the next couple of weeks, just to build myself back up, and therefore I'm having back-to-back rest days on Monday and Sunday, or Sunday Monday. And it was a bit of a weird one, as Finn said, like in the sense of like, I was Sunday night, I was like, I've got rest days, I've got so much spare time, what do I do with myself?
So you did some questions, and I realised, I was like, why is he doing questions on training day? And I was like, oh shit, Monday's not training.
Yeah, and I was like, I've got so much spare time, but it was nice, and to be fair, it was desperately needed. Like, my recovery.
Think you'll want to keep it like that moving forward?
Oh no, I want to train. Like, on that day, I was like, I said to you, I think I'm going to do an arm day, like every other week, just to literally just get in the gym.
Do it at either.
Yeah, probably, or just get some arm, see a bit of arm work in there. And ideally, the plan will be to kind of drive volume up across the 4 sessions.
Probably do like an abs day,
it was going to be that's what it was going to be. When I say an arm, it was like arm and accessories.
And like literally do like 12 to 16 sets of abs, and just smash them.
Yeah. So it was going to be, like I said, pretty much working up. I'm doing like 1 push session, 1 pull session, and then 2 lowers, with a little bit of a variance between like the lowers, sort of like prioritisation. But eventually they'll go to an upper lower, and then I'll be back to 5 times per week training, I'd imagine, because I like 4 times per week, and I think I'll definitely have periods where I run 4 times a week, like at say peak strength when performance is really, really, really high.
We both said that, didn't we? We both said like in the past when we did run 4 times, like we were making a lot of progress. And I think it's one of those like when you're really trashed and when you're really when you're at the end of a diet, like a contest prep, or at the end of a gaining phase and your peak strength. You probably your total frequency probably should come down. When you're in that middle ground, like I feel like you could get away with 5 or 6 sessions. Yeah, like you could get away with 6 sessions when you're in that middle ground where it's like you feel pretty good, but you're not really heavy, you're not really strong for you. You're not also really depleted and really sort of just trashed. Like, in that middle ground, you think, I could train 5-6 times. Yeah. Like, I'm at a point now. I'm thinking I could probably bring my training frequency down to 4. Yeah. But then I do enjoy my training, and like the time that I'm training, I'm not thinking about whether I'm dragging or feeling like this or that. I'm just training and enjoying it. Yeah. But if that enjoyment drops, which it inevitably will, I probably will bring it down to 4 sessions.
What session would you pull?
Probably
the Wednesday.
Probably the Wednesday, but then I don't really want to have Wednesday, Thursday back to back. So maybe that Wednesday would be like a. Thing is, the Wednesday session is not that demanding. No. So I could have push. I'd probably push, rest, legs, rest. That's what I'd do. Push. And actually, because then the Friday's
I'd be able to do that.
But then the Friday and the Wednesday would be a bit too close.
Yeah. Oh, what? The legs, legs Wednesday, legs Friday. Yeah. You have to swap it around. And then you do pull Friday, and then...
But then I still have a hip hinge, and I have hamstrings and glutes.
Yeah.
I'd probably just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe as like I'd still go and train, but it'd be just...
Yeah, we'd have to think about it, but I think there's definitely benefits to it, and that's the reason why, like I said, I knew from the get-go, I was like, I'm going to do 4 times a week.
It's another sort of low day for promoting more fat loss as well. Yeah. Like, I find rest days not easier for fat loss, but generally, like, I'm happy to have my food rock bottom if I need to. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to do that on a training day.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Like, I think it's one of those, like, I'd notice for myself, like, the amount of pressure on, like, training days, I'd be like, I need to train well. But on the rest day, I'd be like, I don't care if I have like even though if I'm battered, I can care. Like I just can care because I'm like, well, I'm not training, so
I expect to feel like on my rest day, especially at the end of the day, I'm just like, it's like a zombie, but I'm like, doesn't really matter. Like, as long as I have a decent sized meal in the evening and I know that my training day food is not low. No. Pre-workout meal's pretty big. Yeah. Like I know I'll be sound for training.
Yeah. So that's pretty much how I've been kind of planning things. My sessions right now are like pretty demanding overall relative to what they will be and relative to how they are. So the 2 days back to back we needed, like even now, like my legs are fried. I've got legs tomorrow. Sam's going to be filming, and like my recovery's like even doing like baseline volume. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's like I'm sore, like really sore today. But hey, it is what it is. The joy is like I'm going to be slowly coming back to life with how things are. I was up above 100 kilos body weight today for the first time.
I saw.
Like,
what did you have for food last night?
Nothing.
3 pizzas.
No, I had normal train day.
What have you had so far? Tell everyone everything you've been binging on.
I haven't binged really at all. So, post-show, so it's been 2.5 weeks, I think. And I said to Snai yesterday, all the food, you know, that like, towards the end, like, you do get food focus. Like, I you never really catch me being like, I don't think of food, but like the thought of going out
the social side of it, like being like just normal and going out for a meal.
Yeah. And I said to like Sanaya, like a few food places that I'd like to try. And then yesterday we went for a walk, and I was like, tried none. Like all the places are like, oh yeah, you know, like let's say you thought of Indian or the thought of like, Chinese food, like Chinese food, or you'd be like, well, I haven't had any of that.
Yeah, like, I've not had anything. To what you know is going to digest well and that you enjoy. Like, same as what I said before. Like I ended up buying loads of different cereals, and I don't like. There's probably like 6 of them that I didn't even try. Yeah. I was like, by the time I'd already gone through.
It's the variance that I think. It's the variance that your mind almost craves. But I'm horrendous for variance. I just prefer just to stick to.
And the thought of it is always better than the actual
100%.
Sensation of eating it itself.
So first, immediately after my show, second I got off, 10 cookie dealers.
You actually did have cookie dealers.
I actually did. Yeah, I had one. I think it was my first. No.
Anyone else want to be the co-host of the podcast?
I actually had a cookie dealer, and I was like, that's actually pretty good.
I've got one in the freezer because they gave me one at Cybex.
Oh yeah. That was decent. That one. Had that as well. Then had loads more. No. So I had a cookie dealer, which was actually all right. First ever one. No. First ever one post show. Like I've never had one post show, but it was like Yeah,
You've had
decent.
hundreds though in the past.
Hundreds, yeah. No, I think they're massively overrated, but they're just a post-show food that people go, oh yeah, you need a cookie dealer. Me and Sanaya went out for a Nando's. It was it was almost like an on-plan Nando's because
Nando's
she was still
small
prepping.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was literally she's still prepping. Tom was like, oh yeah, go out for something
Nice,
that's like
though.
clean.
Good food.
Yeah, and it was good. The next day, it was quite funny. Sanaya was like devastated. We went to Manchester. And she's obviously still prepping, so I was like, I'm not going to be eating like massively off of what I would usually have. So like my first meal was actually less food than I would usually have on a high day for my first meal. And she was like, Reece, well, why are you not having more? And I'm like, I just want my eggs. And I want like,
And
one.
also, if you know you're going out,
Yeah,
then you might get something.
I was thinking I might, but I literally prepped all my food. I think I had. No, I don't think we did anything that day. Yeah, I literally stuck to plan. That was like
There's
the
some
same
meals
day.
though as well, isn't there?
I
You
just had
just
cream of rice.
enjoy.
Yeah, I just
Like,
literally had like cream of rice, and I was like, that sounds.
I wouldn't want to add to my first meal now.
No.
Like, if I was going to have like a high day, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to add this to
Well,
my first meal.
today's a rest day, and I've had a carb today. I had pro fats. I had pro fats in my first meal.
No wonder you're training shit.
So yeah, I'm still fucking shredded. I don't know why. Just pro fats meal one on rest days. Wow. So pretty much, Monday was sound, and then like Tuesday I went out for a meal with my mum. Went to Pizza Punks in Leicester. Me and Sanaya went to Pizza Punks in Leeds like a year ago, and it's like a little bit of a quirky sort of pizza place. So that was alright. And then Wednesday I was travelling up to Manchester to fly to Spain, and I literally just prepped all my food. Got some cooked chicken that fucked me up, or pre-cooked chicken from a co-op that I had the following day, which I thought would be okay, and I still think that should be okay. It didn't.
It should be okay, but it's never good anyway. You know, you buy cooked chicken, you open it, it stinks.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
never smells great.
Every time
But
I
I
think
got it at like, let's say I got it the night before, so let's say 9 p.m, 8 p.m. before I checked in, like before.
Still, it wasn't in the fridge then for
No,
what?
but then it was. I flew at 9 a.m, so it was literally 12 hours out of the fridge. You'd imagine 12 hours out of the fridge
Depends
in a
how
hotel
hot.
room.
Is it warm?
Yeah, it's alright, it was in my bag. You'd imagine that'd be okay. But anyway, I had some chicken, that ruined me. And then I literally couldn't really eat from like when I got there, it was a case of just what could I stomach? And then I was shitting out everything for the next 3 days. And that's the reason why I'm still pretty light. So yeah, got back from Spain on Wednesday of last week, and then me and Sanaa went to the Thai place in Loughborough. That was lovely. Yeah, Loughborough. Tooling. Thai Suicide, it's above the Fox pub if you local to Lutterworth, or if you're in the Leicester area.
You must have spoke about the Fox.
Yeah,
hundreds
go
of
and
times on
visit
the
it. It's
podcast.
wicked. It's wicked. Me and Sanaa, we went there after prep last time, and this is where we went to prep this time. After prep this time. So that was our first like proper post prep meal together. And then other than that, I went out I had a pizza protocol Sunday night at my mum. So
Yeah.
we went to Pizza Hut. That was our first Pizza Hut. Back at Pizza Hut. Me and my mum. That's like our
Forget that you like
food
pizza.
place. Yeah. Anyway, that was that was actually my first like proper like off-plan pizza, because Pizza Punks is more like a nicer sort of pizza, where Pizza's a bit more of like a
Smash it.
heavier. Yeah, I actually ended up dropping weight after that because I did only 4 meals or 3 tracked meals and then that pizza. So on my days off now, my days with an off-plan meal, I'm gonna have probably 4 meals and then an off-plan meal. And then since then, it's been pretty much on plan. Like, there's not really. I had a plan burrito with Sanaa on Monday, and they turned out they didn't have chicken, which was a nightmare. But they had this caramelized beef.
Yeah, it's good that.
Yeah, I've never had it before, so I had that, and that was very good. But yeah, otherwise, I've been pretty boring. Like I've enjoyed myself in the sense of like some flexibility, but it's more so the social occasion of going out for a meal and like doing something. Like for example, this Sunday, me and Mum are going to London, going to Piccadilly, and do some shopping, and it'll be nice to like be able to actually go. I'll still I know I will. I'll bring food with me, but it'll be nice that like if we're out at lunch and we go, there's something, and you can grab like I know there's a Chipotle. And like that stuff like that's like the food that I enjoy. So yeah, I've always been one to like I would never eat food on my own. I'm not the kind of guy to be like, let me go and grab this, grab that. Like I'm very boring and switched off, and I know I am. I was raised by my mum who used to cook me the same food, the same dinner every single dinner was the same because I was an only child and I just liked my routine and consistency. But yeah, that's pretty much been that. Like I said, body weight up above 100 kilos. Today's a non-training day, so I probably will drop. But again, I'll assess because I dropped weight after every non-training day. So I've added another 50 gram of carbs, just spread up literally 10 carb per meal. And then this week's just been a slow case of like adding carbs in when appropriate, and also my appetite's actually really high, which is based on probably just training. Because my appetite, I've been saying to you,
better again.
yeah, I've been saying to Finn, like my appetite. That's the reason why I like almost struggled to gain weight, in the sense of I've had like no real desires. Like I just feel like when I was so like dead, my body's just kind of shut off, and all my emotions have just not really been there. So like my appetite's just been like, not really bothering about food. But the fact that I'm back in the gym, feeling good, structure's back, like my appetite's getting like better, which is good. So that means I can obviously be working my food up again. And then it's almost kind of like that, like flicking of a switch of like, right, now it's time to like, if I want to improve my gym performance, I need to be eating more. So yeah, just laying the foundations right now for me, which is all good. While Finn is in the process of digging away. And
I think I'm gonna have a high day Sunday.
Yeah.
And maybe Monday. Based on whatever happens Monday, you know what I mean? It's like Sunday I'm going to have not an aggressive high day, but a relatively high day for a rest day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep my expenditure really low, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
And then Monday, if body weight's up significantly, I won't have a high day. I'll just crack on as normal.
Yeah.
And if it's like down or the same, which wouldn't surprise me, like just dropping, like, especially like my lower body is quite inflamed. Like if I drop off a decent amount of fatigue and body weight's the same or down, I'll have a high day Monday as well. And then it'd be good to see how the look is post push, and then also after legs in Rotherham.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Just because my like body weight, it's moving, but there's more friction at the minute, and it's just because my body, I'm slowing down. Like everything's just a bit slower.
Yeah.
I can tell. Like, and performance has been good this week, but not as good as previous weeks.
Yeah.
And I do look pretty flat through some areas. Like my arms and my delts and that look fine, but like my back is so flat.
Yeah.
My lower body's like my lower body's just inflamed from I say a lot of cardio. It's not a lot of cardio, but it is compared to not doing any cardio. And the thing is, it's steps as well. Like
what's your steps at currently? And
13,000 a day.
what's your cardio?
35 minutes a morning.
Okay. Yeah, so
It's not high, but like I can tell my like every morning I'm waking up.
Yeah, and then you're doing legs twice a week.
Yeah.
Like, my legs were ruined, and to be fair, still are.
Yeah.
And I was training legs once a week. So, and there's a big difference between training legs once and twice a week.
Like, every morning when I get up out of bed, it's like my legs just feel like they just feel knackered.
Yeah.
And then by the time I'm like 5 minutes into cardio, they feel fine. Yeah. But like up until I get to that point, like I go on my morning walk outside, and my legs are like, fucking hell, come on. And then once I get cardio started, I'm sound.
Yeah.
So I think even just Sunday, like just chill.
Yeah.
See how I go. Probably won't do cardio and keep my steps like less than 8k.
Yeah.
And just see how I feel. So I imagine that'll drop off a lot of fatigue.
Oh yeah.
And then a decent amount more food.
Yeah.
Need to plan it out really.
What are you thinking? What's your rest day food at currently? Like, is it 150 carbs?
No, it's like 95 carb.
Okay. So what do you think I can bump that up to? Like 500 plus?
Yeah, I'll probably have a decent. I'll either like just have a
100
decent
carb.
amount across
100 carb
5
a meal.
meals,
Yeah.
or I'll just get a meal out. I don't know what to.
Finn wants a meal out.
I don't really.
Wants a meal out. He wants to go to the basin.
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
I've already been there. If I was to have a meal out, No, I don't really fancy anything. I think I will just have my normal, like, I'll just have more food.
Yeah.
I fancy, like, I'd like to have, like, I'll just add a couple of bagels in and stuff. Like, I haven't had, like, bagel and jam or anything like that.
You're going to add in food? You're going to add in food you've not been having?
Not my bagels. I
Bagels.
crumpets until last week.
Such a digestive stress.
Bagels are going to fuck me up.
Yeah.
Right, the camera's going to die, so we're going to be back in a second for the questions. Right, guys, let's get into the questions. So, first of all, questions from last week that we didn't get round to, and then we'll get round to the ones from this week. We've got about half an hour. So, have you got many from last week?
I got a few actually. Yeah, because there was a few that like didn't really correlate.
We
with
answered the ones that were like for all of us or for
Yeah.
Sanaya, didn't we? So let's go through the ones that were.
Right, first one, football. Top 4 predictions for next season.
I think I got that question as well. I got that question in the car.
Oh.
I said, I don't think anyone will knock City off the top. I think City will win.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool will come second, because I think they made some good signings, and I think
Good side. McAllister, one side.
no, but they're going to make good
yeah,
signings.
yeah.
And I think just
And Thuram.
how good they can be. I think last season was just a bit of an anomaly.
Oh, on the days we were good, we were wicked.
Yeah, exactly.
But the days we were
And you
bad,
could
we were awful.
easily go on a run
Yeah.
of just winning 10 games. Like
We did at the end of the season, pretty much.
then,
Where you going? We
Because you didn't win 10 games in a row.
I think we won 8 in a
yeah,
row.
that's not 10. Then United third,
Okay.
and then I think Arsenal come fourth, and then I said Newcastle fifth, Chelsea sixth, Spurs seventh.
Seeing that Newcastle are going to get Barella, apparently.
I get Neymar.
No, Barella, you know, Inter.
Oh,
Yeah, apparently 50 million.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So my predictions. I think Liverpool is so tricky, if I'm honest. Like McAllister, I think is
second,
an awesome. Yeah, McAllister's a very good signing. I'm over the moon with McAllister. We've been linked to Kethem Thuram from Nice. He looks really good as well. I think it depends on the incomings. Like the Liverpool squad systemically is very, very good in certain areas. Forward line's wicked. I for some reason don't think we're going to challenge.
But it's not like. No, I don't think anybody will challenge.
Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, Nunes.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not like.
Okay, Salah's like 20 goal plus. You got Gakpo, who got 7 goals since January.
Gakpo is pretty good.
Gakpo's probably going to be like, let's say, in the teens. Nunes will probably be in the teens as well. Diaz is going to, if he doesn't get injured, he's going to score. And then you've got Jota, who I haven't even mentioned, who guaranteed goals. I think Liverpool's forward line's very good. And our defence is pretty solid when we can defend through the middle. Yeah. So I honestly don't know where to put Liverpool. Like, my heart is like, yeah, second, but I for some reason don't think we're going to challenge next season. I think it'll be like just top 4, third or fourth.
I don't think you'll challenge, but I don't think anybody will. So I think it's second, third, fourth will be close.
If Arsenal get Rice and Caicedo, I think Arsenal will be up there again.
I just can't see it. I just feel like
they need to have Ertz as well. This question took too long. City number 1, and then I'm just going to go Liverpool, United, Arsenal in that. Not in that order.
No,
but just those. Okay, I'm going to
go. Order. That's my same order as me.
I'm going to have Arsenal higher than United.
What do you think about us doing a separate football podcast?
Yeah, it's good. Good, we just have time.
What would we call it? It'd have to be like once you're in,
Yeah.
Full time or something like that.
Full time. Yeah, full time once you're in.
I actually think we should do a football podcast.
Wouldn't be bad. Yeah.
Andy Bewley PT, how do you approach the magical peak week? Carbs, sodium, water, fatigue, etc.
I got asked about this. He actually asked, when filling up for a show, what feedback do you look for? Purely visual, bodyweight trends. It entirely depends, Andy, on the situation and the individual you're working with. I think in an ideal world, I think we're both in agreement that, like, for the vast majority of individuals, a linear carb load where you drop off stress, drop off fatigue, and slowly build up food is the best plan of action, because it's the least likelihood of error. If you look wicked a week out, you'll look wicked come show day. It will result in just the client and or the individual going through the process knowing pretty much, right, we're going to do this, we're going to find the look, and then once you have that look, let's say on Wednesday or Thursday post-workout or whatever, you're like, right, cool, let's just replicate this. And it's stress-free, no massive changes and no massive manipulations. I think when you're working with individuals with, let's say, to a higher standard, potentially more muscle mass, there's potential, like for example, for me, I looked my best after a day's worth of washing off. We realised through the refeeds I looked good, but then I looked better a day or two afterwards. Once it kind of fully saturated, I had maybe another training session. So what we ran was we pretty much ran more aggressive loads and then more aggressive carb load, and then we had a day or two's worth of washing off. But every build up for each weekend was different with me, and they are different person to person.
Off the data
it is, it's based off the data we gathered.
That's why it's good to
last one.
Try and be ready early so you can have some practice peaks.
Yeah, the last one was completely different to the first one. The first one, but it worked. The first one was a 11-day, 12-day carb load. Literally, it was the fat loss was done from I think the Monday of the week before the weekend before. So it was I think the show was on the 7th, and the last fat loss day was probably the 26th. Yeah, 25th, 26th, and it was literally just slow and steadily trickling in more food. Obviously, the food's going to be dependent on how big you are. For example, I was literally having 700 to 800 grams of carbs a day. If you're a first-time natural guy on stage at 150 pounds, 160 pounds, you're probably not going to. You're probably not going to be able to. You could probably just have a burger and fries, and you'd probably be full. So it is one of those.
I think everybody benefits from multiple days.
Oh yeah, multiple days.
Gradually loading.
So that was we did a linear carb load for me, and then for the last show it was getting as much food as you can on one day, and it consumed about 8,000 calories. And days worth of washing off. So it's a different approach, but it's based off data, and there's most importantly the visual, seeing how things are. So as Finn said, get ready early, but I do think in most situations, especially if you're not a seasoned competitor, just run a very linear carb load. If you are ready, if you're still fat, fucking pull fat off, bro.
Keep dieting.
Yeah, keep dieting and just go in and think, right, it might not be 100%, but at least I'm going to be skinned. That's almost what I'm looking for.
In terms of, you put the magical peak week, obviously he's joking, you put a 1 next to it. But carb, sodium, water, fatigue, etc. So literally, in very simple terms, carb, sodium, water, they all work hand in hand. So if you're escalating one, you need to be escalating all of them.
Yeah.
So if you're going to increase your water, you're likely going to be doing that with increasing your carbs, unless you're just doing a water load to then dry off.
No, bro, my coach cut water out like
2 days before.
Yeah, that's so dry.
If you are carb loading, which theoretically, in a peak week you would expect to be, because you want it to be increasing intramuscular fullness, intramuscular glycogen, potentially intramuscular triglycerides as well, if you're going to be increasing fats, which I would recommend alongside it. Isn't it weird, like the whole fat load thing? Like, let's see if that's a big deal this year again. It was a massive deal last year.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just load fats and carbs together.
Yeah. No, you load fats, but then pull down carbs, and then flatten out completely.
Really flat.
And then you then have to eat even more.
I actually had a question about it. It was on again on my story, I think, yesterday, and it was like, what would you benefit more from, an extra depletion day or an extra carb day during a peak week? And I was like, well, if you're already in shape, you don't need a depletion day because you're depleted all the time. Like, you should not need to deplete more so for that sort of super physiological response. Like, if you're already really depleted, which you should be, then just eat up into the show. And again, like I said the same thing on my story, if you're not depleted, you're not lean enough. Like, get leaner, simple as that. But yeah, that's that really. And then fatigue wise, obviously you're just trying to drop it off through reducing expenditure, maybe take cardio out or taper it down. Same with steps, keep some steps in for digestive purposes, especially if you're eating a lot, but definitely try and bring them down. Try and get a bit more sleep, try and keep your feet up when you can.
Yep, makes sense. Arm training, extra volume intensifiers. So that's about arm training. Like, if you've got weak arms, what should you do? Like we've always said, frequency in the sense of do more.
Yeah, I think you can get away with a decent level of frequency through your arms. Like, I think most people could probably get away with training them 5 times a week, maybe 6.
We used to do them at the back end of every session.
Yeah, maybe sort of separate it into, for example, like one thing that I quite like doing with clients is like biceps at the end of push, because your biceps aren't going to be fatigued from push. Obviously, you're going to get tricep work from push anyway. Triceps at the end of pull, because your biceps might be a little bit fatigued from some of the pulling movements. Your triceps won't be. Legs, probably. I mean, if you're really weak through the arms and maybe you're only training 4 times a week and you don't have time to go in on any rest days or anything like that, then I would add a little bit of arms on your leg days. But if not, just try and keep it as legs, just because you can just attack the session more. But if you are doing arms on leg days, do it before you start the leg session. And then if you have like an upper lower as well, then it'd be the same thing for the lower, and then maybe just one like bicep and one tricep movement on upper. And you could even sort of add another arm day on top of that. So like you could have 5 sessions a week with a little bit of arms and then a 6th arm day, because realistically, like, how often do you get DOMs through your arms?
Mate,
like,
in more sense as well, not even DOMs. Like, if you think about demands,
yeah,
you were to go to the gym today and do 10 sets,
anyway.
10 sets of deadlifts, we're fried for 4 days. If you were to do 20 sets of bicep curls, 30 sets of bicep curls, we're not going to be coming in tomorrow going, oh bro, I can't train.
No.
Your arms are biceps.
I think your triceps can, especially because if you're doing a heavy sort of close grip press or something like that, or a dip, like your triceps can definitely incur more fatigue centrally as well,
100%.
than biceps. But yeah, like frequency and also just like alignment and choosing exercises that actually you can feel and connect with. Like,
you connect well with your arms, you've got good arms.
Yeah.
I connect well with my arms are right. Like, if most people, they don't connect well with their arms. And like, I also think as well, like what we said about frequency, I think a lot of it, and this is again, it's a bit of bro science, but like when you start training, like we smash arms. Like most people, when you speak to them and they have like way better arms than us,
or any good body part,
if you say to them,
what
did you used to do, like when you first started training, they'll probably be like, I used to do an arm day, like I'd do arms every day. And it's like, yeah, no surprise. See, they probably have really good connections with them, and then as a result of that, like they can probably get away with like doing minimal arm work. You know,
also genetically, like I think everybody's going to have those body parts that are easier and harder to grow.
Yeah.
Like for me, arms, like you say, I'll do like 3 reps of a bicep curl, no matter what bicep curl it is, and I'll get a really good pump.
Mine's same with my hamstrings.
But for me, my hamstrings, it could take me like 2 sets to actually feel like I've done anything.
My hamstrings, my calves, like
my calves take loads to like actually feel them.
My quads, for example, I can do a leg extension. I never get any outer head on my quad. My outer head of my quad's not the best. It's like there's some times where you actually have to think, oh, yeah, it kind of makes sense. So like, to answer the question in totality, like arm training, extra volume, intensifiers, you can do extra volume, you can do intensifiers, but pick exercise you connect well with, bump the frequency up, and as a result,
and also like don't treat them like anything else in terms of progressive training. Like, still try and progress them, but accept that the level and the rate of progression isn't going to be the same as like big compound.
Oh, if you're doing a dumbbell hammer, I've used this example loads. Doing like a dumbbell hammer curl, let's say you're doing the 20s, you're going up 10% of strength to the 22. So the next pair of dumbbells, 10% of strength. If you were to go on a deadlift and do 4 plates, add 10% of strength, you're doing 196 kilos. You're not going to be able to go up 15 plus kilos on a deadlift in one session. So accept the progression is going to be slower relative to weight because the weight is less.
It's percentage based.
Yeah, exactly. You go from there. So yeah.
I don't think we answered this one. For natural guy with 8 to 9% body fat, what do you guys
89%
suggest?
body
8
fat?
to 9.
Oh.
What do you guys suggest to eat more, trying to get more lean mass, protein, carbs, or fats?
Is this who's asked the question?
L Crane.
Yeah, I know it was him because he's asked me a very similar question. about
Basically,
that.
mate, like, first of all, body fat percentage. Where are you getting that number from?
I bet you're not 8 to 9%.
89.
89. No, I bet you're not. I bet you're not 8 to 9%.
It doesn't matter what you are.
No.
You could be. It'll be different on any different types of measurement. Literally, so you've put there like what to eat more of. So basically, keep it really simple. Protein, like keep it at an absolute minimum 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. So for you, if you're saying you're 8 to 9%, then 1 gram per pound of where you're currently at as a minimum. Fats, have them at like 0.5 grams per kilo. So let's say you're 75 kilos, maybe make it easier. Let's say you're 80 kilos, keep it at a minimum of 40 grams, and then basically if you're heavier than that, have them a bit higher, and then just ramp your carbs up as high as you possibly can.
Yeah.
If you're trying to gain more
digestible
lean
sources,
mass,
that are going to be in and around the workout window to fuel training performance and training recovery.
and lean mass is like
Yeah, it's lean mass. Like
Just
just
a-
trying to gain mass, bro.
not- yeah, you're just
No,
trying
lean,
to
lean,
build muscle out,
lean
yeah.
bulking, bro.
yeah.
Lean bulking. Right. So, best advice for first time being on stage.
I think we said that last week,
Do it.
saying
Okay.
like be confident and stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Loving the pod recently, boys, from Ben the Butcher Barlow.
Yes, Ben.
Yeah. Favorite lifts across each body part. So, like, I'm guessing favorite movements.
Okay. Seated calf press. How exciting.
Wow, so good.
A seated hamstring curl.
Yeah. You know, you're not having like a hip hinge or anything like that. Like,
I'm going to
I
place
think-
that for glutes. And
yeah, I feel like right now, if you were to ask me, like, the last thing I'd want to do is a hip hinge. But like, when I'm fat, bro, yeah, hip hinge, of course.
I'd say like
yeah.
for me, for like, I'd
I like
I'd
to see
probably
it
put for glutes, I'd say a stiff leg deadlift or an RDL. Like, obviously, yes, you're going to get hamstrings, you're going to get erectors,
Yeah.
you're going to get other. But like, if I'm looking at, if I had to choose one glute movement, probably
Yeah.
forever, I'd probably do a dumbbell RDL.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Yeah. Anyway, for me, yeah, seated ham. Love a seated ham. Leg extension or leg press.
Yeah, probably a leg press.
Yeah, I'd say a leg press, 100%. Like, if
we
we
do enjoy a leg press.
yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, leg press, good leg press, not a lot better. A leg press would be like top 3 exercises. I feel like if you were to pick just one exercise to do consistently, I think a leg press would actually be my
Leg
choice.
press, a hinge, and a flat pinch. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
well,
if you were
probably
to-
a mid incline Smith.
Yeah,
Like if we
yeah,
were only
we've
allowed
said
3.
Yeah, we've said this before. So yeah, leg press.
Abs, cable crunch.
Nothing for me.
I do like the ab coast.
I hate every single ab movement.
See,
That's
that's
why
what
I don't do them. So it's
A
so
lot of
bad.
people, it is though, it's true, isn't it? Like, a lot of people don't like training
yeah,
abs.
so
I
it's-
really like training abs. I get a really good connection. I like the
I really
feeling.
enough get a good connection. They're just
They are awful.
They're just
Yeah.
awful. It's so bad. I don't know what it is. I need to have implants. That's what it is. Yeah, I'd say. What did you go? The ab coaster.
I do like the ab coast,
Ab
but I
coast
wouldn't
is
choose
good.
that. If I only was allowed one
Yeah.
exercise, I'd do it at cable crunch.
Yeah, cable crunch. I think is just pretty simple. Chest.
Mid incline Smith.
I think that's a pretty easy choice.
Back, I'd say, mate, at the minute, like, if I only had one back movement, hammer strength low row.
Yeah, I do like that.
Only the one at Evo though.
Yeah. What about my? I'm going to upload it today. I did a dead stop.
Yeah.
Barbell for 3 plates.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a very
Were you wearing that horrible vest?
No.
That vest was vile.
That was awful. It was.
How many horrible items did you have to wear?
Oh, the weight
What was the
For
comparison?
the people that don't know what we're talking about, I should have actually mentioned this. I shot with explosive fibres yesterday. Cooper Films took some photos of us, and they basically just send you like a supply drop of like the clothes that like, and it's annoying. They gave me an XL in everything. It's all oversized stuff, but I was like,
But still,
yeah, I'm
like,
gonna be-
that's small.
Yeah, they clearly must look at my Instagram and go, God, he's tiny.
Yeah, you ask.
So luckily it fit, but it's annoying because they won't fit me in like 3 months, 4 months. But I wore this one top. I wore a tank top that was awful. Cooper was like, "Can you get on the leg press?" Because Ronnie Coleman did a leg press in a similar tank top, and he was like, "Can you get on the leg press?" And he's like, "We'll make it like a Ronnie Coleman." I'm like, "I'm not leg press. embarrassing. Sorry. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, we were joking, but it was. I was like, no. There was a white tee that looked like a referee. You know, like white with black like pin strips or whatever it's called.
That vest was like stripes. Wasn't it? It was like a stick of rock.
And I literally put it on, and I was like, you know, Foot Locker.
Yeah,
you know,
you felt like you were in there.
Yeah, Foot Locker. And then I went like this. I went. Yellow card to Cooper. I was like, do I look like a referee? And he was like, God, you actually do. So yeah, I tried on, like, we literally had like 10 pieces of clothing. We kept it all, which is quite cool. And
stole it all.
Yeah, stole it all. And yeah, it was some of the garments were horrendous. Some were cool. Like, got a nice red tee, got some real nice blue shorts, got a nice blue tee, got a yellow tee. Some of it is really good. Some of it is not the best. Not the best. Hopefully they're choosing some athletes they want to work with based on the photo shoot, so hopefully no one sends that to them. I love explosive fibres, best on the market, soon to be Reese Fit 10. Lats.
Single arm, DY row.
Yeah, I'd go for a single arm row. Like, I connect well with any single arm row.
Shoulders.
Cybex shoulder press.
Yeah. Side delts. Single arm lateral.
No, I don't like it. I do like it, but my left side, my scapula is always a little bit more unstable. I'd go honestly, I'd probably choose a dumbbell lateral if I'm honest. Connect well with dumbbell laterals. But that's the bro version of me. The actual analytical version would be like, do like a cuff line lateral. Yeah. Do anything there?
Yeah, smash through that.
Sound? Cool.
I don't think we answered this. Jamie Jackson, hope you're both well. How important is water intake? One of my clients. Very important. You could ask me in the check-ins, mate. But yeah, very important. If you were to, let's say today, if we weren't to have had any water, like, we wouldn't be even functioning doing this podcast. We'd both feel horrendous. We'd both have a headache. We'd both probably feel like our digestion was awful. Cognitive function would be awful. Like, then you bring training into the equation. If we did that on a training day, our performance would be absolutely horrendous.
Water is more important than like anything.
Food, even sleep. I could easily train off 3-4 hours sleep. Well, the audio's gone off.
Good thing I spotted that.
Yeah. I don't know why it does this.
Have the mics turned off like completely?
I don't think so. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, guys. The mics decided to stop for a second. I think we're all good.
Fantastic for myself.
Yeah, Reese noticed it. Yeah. Water is very important. We were literally just about to say, like, if I could sleep for 3-4 hours on a given night.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't feel amazing, but I'd still train and I'd still progress if I had nailed my hydration and nailed my food. If I was to have, let's say, 1 litre of water instead of probably 4 or so by the time, 4 or 5 by the time I've trained, I would feel horrendous. And I would really struggle to get a pump, I'd struggle to train at all, I'd have a headache. It's very important. So, especially in this weather. Yeah. So, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, mate.
When I was in Spain, I literally was going to buy, obviously you can't use the tap water. And I was, coming home every day with, water. And they were the girls were like, do you drink that much water? I'm like, yeah. I came home with a 5 litre bottle of water, the day one, and I was like, this is half of what I drink. Yeah. And they were like, it was because it was 2 p.m. So I was like, I'll just have to go to the shop tomorrow morning, but I need this. Yeah. And they were surprised. I was like, no.
But you just feel so much better for it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're somebody who is listening who doesn't drink that much water,
please drink more.
Just see how you feel. Gradually drinking more. Add in an extra sort of 250ml each day, and get it up to 5-6 litres if you're having 1-2 litres at the minute. And I guarantee you'll be like, oh my god, I feel 10 times better just in my everyday life.
Yeah, 100%. Right, so what's more important in your opinion? Moving as much weight as possible or feel? I don't really like these questions.
It's not one or the other.
Yeah, it's not. It should never be just one one side.
If it was, if you had to choose, I would say just get strong.
Yeah,
because the amount we've said this before, the amount of times you see people who are obsessed with internal feel and they haven't really got any muscle because they're obsessed with internal feel.
Yeah.
If you have people who are obsessed with getting strong, they're going to have muscle, whether they feel it or not. So if you had to choose one, then it would be just get strong. But it isn't just one, because if it was that easy, everybody would just throw weight about and everybody would be massive. Yeah. Like I said earlier, there's going to be body parts that people struggle to connect with that are probably going to take longer to grow. So the answer is both are as important as each other. I'd say getting strong is more important.
Yeah,
but
I'd say so.
Don't neglect the internal feel completely.
No, you want to get as strong as possible while maintaining a good connection in the area intended. Do you want me to go?
Would you retain more muscle with thyroid supplementation during a diet?
No, thyroid supplementation, like
It's not going to just randomly maintain all the muscle.
If you're looking at this is the argument when you look at thyroid supplementation. So if you're kind of weighing it up in the sense of, like, let's say the pros versus cons in the sense of muscle retention. So in theory, if you, let's say you're taking, like, let's say T3, T4, you're going to be able to potentially, because thyroid naturally does come down, especially in like an elongated dieting sort of state. So in theory, you take thyroid, let's say hormone, like say you take T3, T4, you can then eat a bit more food because you can your maintenance calories are going to stay higher, and as a result, you could leverage greater training performance. So you could go, okay, cool, that's going to result in me holding on to more muscle. But the thing is with thyroid, if you were to, let's say, ramp your thyroid up and take a lot of T3, so let's say, for example, a replacement dose of T3, like 25 micrograms to 37.5 per day. Let's say if you were to start to take 50 to 75 micrograms, which is a lot, and this does unfortunately occur, especially, like, let's say, for like bikini girls and stuff like that. Some of the protocols I've heard with bikini girls is horrible. And let's say ramp up your T4, it's just going to strip off weight, and it's not really, thyroid is one of those where it's not actually really going to know the difference in the sense of potential muscle. It literally is just total bodily weight, and it will just rip it off, and you'll probably flatten out really, really, really quickly. And that's something that whenever I've played around with T3 and T4, that's something I've noticed for myself when it comes to flattening out a lot quicker, especially when it's at a slightly higher than physiological replacement range. So you could argue that, yeah, there's going to be pros to taking it in the sense of muscle retention, but then if we're actually being very critical, I would say it's actually going to be more so damaging when it's not taken well.
You could argue that with any form of, like,
enhancement.
Any form of enhancement, any form of sort of lipolytic supplement.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, I'm taking Yihimbine, which means I can keep food higher.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, because yes, yeah, in theory, yeah, you can keep food higher, but you're still creating the same level of demand. It's just like saying I'm doing more cardio, like I'm doing more expenditure so I can keep my food higher.
Yeah.
That's fine if that works better for you, but it doesn't mean that all of a sudden, like, you're going to be able to retain loads more muscle.
Yeah.
Like the person in a prep who, let's say, keeps their food a lot higher than another person, but is doing loads more cardio, won't necessarily be retaining loads more muscle than the person in a prep who does minimal cardio but has lower food. Like, it's going to depend on you as an individual. What do you prefer? What works better for your lifestyle? What helps you maintain performance? And like you say, using those sort of supplements that are going to basically just ramp up your heart rate or your thyroid, your rate of metabolism, won't all of a sudden mean, oh, but my performance is better because I've got a bit more food. It's still creating a stressor and a demand on the body, just like dropping your food would. Yeah. So it kind of cancels it out anyway, and like I say, potentially actually makes it worse.
Yeah. In most
situations, don't do drugs.
Yeah, in most situations, stay natural, move a bit more, eat a bit less, get shredded.
Top 6 predictions for next season. I've already done.
I'm on to the questions from today.
Yeah, same.
When can I come back on? The fans miss me. Who, Josh?
Kes?
Jack Eagles.
Forgot you.
Yeah. I mean, he starts prep now, so he's probably going to be
completely forgot about him. Yeah.
He's going to be milking the engagement. I mean,
we only had him because we wanted Danny on.
Yeah, exactly. And now, I mean, Danny's way better than Jack.
Yeah.
Amateur Olympia winner, so therefore, yeah.
In all seriousness, we do. Literally, mate, just travel over here. Let us know when you're free. Come over to the studio and
we'll send you the location. We could get a session or whatever. Yeah. And or it doesn't have to be. Or we're more than welcome. Literally any Thursday, Jack can pop himself down, and you're more than welcome. We'll drag you up a chair.
Welcome to film for us.
Yeah, and we'll get it sorted. So yeah, all good, Jack. You're welcome whenever.
Felt like shit on the last rep of my leg press yesterday, but had about 2 to 3 RIR. Bail or let it rip. So I think he's saying he felt like he was going to shit himself. I feel like I was going to shit myself basically on the leg press, on the last rep of my leg press, but had about 2 to 3 RIR. Bail or let it rip.
Crack on. Yeah. In all seriousness though, like, as much as we joke and say, like, crack on, I legitimately would just crack on. And the thing is, it's like, I don't even know. I've never thought to myself, and I think we should put this out there, me and Finn have had plenty of accidents on leg presses, on hack squats.
I used to do it every week on my stiff leg when I was fat.
I used to, there was a run in lockdown with the paused hack squat where, like, legitimately, like, for about 6 weeks, 7, 8 weeks, solid every single week. Just accidents, boxes ruined. I went through like 2 pairs of Calvins. That's actually when I started to train.
When your food's high,
it happens, and it's one of those where I was like, yeah, cool. I just go for it, but I don't even think about it. Like, it's not where I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna.
And it's not as if like you've done a full turd.
No,
it's just like probably let a bit out there.
Yeah, it's a bit wet, or it's a bit like it's not amazing to actually to go to the toilet and clean myself up. Like, imagine like actually like a full log
Down,
just
imagine you
covered
get shorts down your leg on the hack on Ultraflex 4.
And again, come on. That's what it would be. Oh my god. Right, you can only keep one exercise for lower chest forever. Why lower chest? Like, everyone's got a good lower chest. Me just chest. If it's lower chest, like, it's what you're picking. I'd say like a dip.
Dips, yeah.
But if it's chest, as we said, like a medium
Probably,
incline.
yeah. Reverse band mid incline to me.
Yeah. Right.
How would you plan a one-on, one-off gym routine? I'd love to train more, but it's work, family, gym, balance. To be fair, like, I think that works pretty well.
Yeah.
If you can run
4 sessions per 8 days.
Yeah. If you can run an 8-day cycle, 4 sessions, upper rest, lower rest, upper rest, lower rest. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Have 2 rotations of each. So upper 1, upper 2, lower 1, lower 2. Upper 1 maybe a bit more push dominant. Upper 2 maybe a bit more back dominant. Likewise, lower 1 maybe a bit more glute and ham dominant with a hinge.
Yeah.
And lower 2 maybe a bit more quad dominant. And just get strong across all those. I'd love to do that. Like, I say I'd love to do that. I could do that. But I like having a routine of knowing when my training days are and my rest days are.
Yeah.
But if I was to do like 4 days, I'd probably do like upper 1, lower 1 rest, upper 2 rest, lower 2 rest, something like that across 7 days. But if you're doing it across 8 and just sort of fitting 4 in when you can, just try and make sure you have at least 2 days rest between hitting the same body part. So don't do lower, upper 4 days in a row. Try and spread the 4 out across the 8 days.
Yeah, right. Got some actual good questions to kind of wrap us up. Firstly, got to ask Jake Donnelly, an ex-client. Do you ever work with Jake Donnelly? I don't think I have.
What, he says he's an ex-client?
Yeah, I don't remember working with Jake Donnelly.
How do you know he's an ex-client?
Jake Donnelly, an ex-client in brackets, recommended the podcast to you guys, to me. It's been a game changer for
Maybe
my
it's his
workouts.
ex-client.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't think I've worked with Jake. I might have to search Jake Donnelly.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, have a look. But we'll get into another one because it's
The name
got a
does
few
ring a
good ones.
bell.
Yeah, it rings a bell with me, but I don't think I've worked with Jake Donnelly.
Oh, Jake Donnelly, yeah.
Finn doesn't remember.
No, it's because I don't think of his surname as Donnelly. I think I'm sure his name on Instagram is like Jake D Fit or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a sound guy.
Yeah, well, he's recommended the podcast to one of his mates, and apparently it's a game changer for his workouts.
What,
So
he's listening to it while he's training?
I'm not sure.
Or maybe he's like taking feedback. Sorry, Jake. I do know who you are. I just don't see you as Jake Donnelly. I don't know why. I see you as your Instagram name, which is like Jake D.
Like that, yeah.
Jake D Fit. I'm sure it's Jake D Fit or something like that.
When I get called Reese Pearson, I'm like, Reese Pearson? Who the fuck's that? I'm Reese
Yeah.
Fit, bro. Like, that's genuinely though, people come up to me and be like, Reese Fit? I'm like, well, Reese Pearson. Like, Reese Fit is my name. But yeah, what's your thoughts on arm rep range? We've kind of covered that. If someone started PEDs relatively late, would it be a good idea to take more initially to make up for it? Yeah, just take loads, bro. Always take whatever the answer is to whatever you can question
more
to
drugs.
answer to take more drugs. Take more drugs. No, get blood done, assess from there. It was one of those where I'd really be assessing and thinking like the enhanced, when you take that step to the enhanced side of things, you're literally going to be going into an avenue of like, let's say androgens that you've not been exposed to no matter what. So if you've trained for 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, the answer still stays the same. Use the least amount possible because your response will be very, very, like, let's say it'll be noticeable and therefore you don't have to utilize. If you start off here, you're only going to get higher. So yeah, don't use a lot, especially even if you're deep into your training career. Best advice for reversing out of a deficit: cal increase, high days.
Maybe don't reverse out, like or at least try and just get straight back into a surplus if you're really lean.
I think it depends.
High
on the
days are good.
situation. I like high days. I think high days when they're deployed well.
Psychologically, they're very good. People really enjoy them, look forward to them.
Yeah.
I think physiologically, you can really benefit from them in terms of the look and the performance benefit.
Yeah, and you
and
can
then
actually
the data
leverage
that you gather to sort of know where your train day food or your baseline food can get up to.
I like them like implemented just before the end of the diet. Like you can leverage
I
them.
always do that.
Yeah, like literally. So you're still dieting, you're still pulling off body fat.
That's what I class as reversing.
Yeah,
It's just like the rate of loss is going to be slower.
The rate of loss slows down. You have the high days in. You literally can get greater training performance. The client enjoys them. They look forward to them. You drop off some diet fatigue. You can potentially have maybe one, like let's say you have 2 per week. You know, one maybe as like an off-plan meal that's like relatively still on plan. They enjoy that, and it's like it's one of those where then you can again train better. And then eventually it's a case of, right, bump up train day food, and eventually you'll trickle into a surplus. However, At the same time, for someone who's asked this question, he's actually one of my old clients, I'd be thinking for you, like, just get back into a growth phase and just get your food up. Like, it's one of those situations. If you're a lifestyle client, fair enough. If you're trying to be competitive, the main goal is going to be, I want to grow.
Food in.
So therefore, get food in. Except, I'm probably going to put on some body fat. It's normal. You're going to be fatter 6 months down the line into a gaining phase. So don't be scared of just thinking, I just need to eat.
You got any more?
Right, let's have a look. Yeah, last one. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, last one. It's quite a good one, to be fair, to end up on. Maybe not a great topic. To be fair, Matthewson, 99, it's actually not too bad. How do you program warm-up sets? Well, you don't program them. You don't program warm-up sets?
I do
You don't
have recommended warm-up sets.
Yeah, you don't directly program, you must do this way.
No. Now and again, I will say to people, this is kind of the warm-up protocol I want you to take. Usually when they've sort of said, like, oh, I felt like, I don't know if I'm doing the right warm-ups, like, I'll explain, but yeah, like usually in my sheets within my programming, it'll say recommended warm-up sets. And basically what I'll explain to people is it's almost like an inverse model, so the reps are going to come down as the weight goes up. So basically, let's imagine something like a hip hinge. You might do just one plate aside, so 60 kilos. You might do like 6 to 10 reps, just getting warm, getting the movement pattern down, sort of almost like getting those neurological pathways ticking, if you like. Then the next set, you might add another plate. This depends on how strong you are, obviously. You might add another plate, so 100 kilos now. You might just do like 2-3 reps. So you're not knackering yourself out as you're getting closer and closer to your working weight. Next warm-up set, you might add another plate, 140. You might do a single or a double. Next warm-up set, you might do 160. You might do a single, and then your working weight might be 180, for example. So that's kind of how I'd program it. Weight comes up, reps come down. You're not knackering yourself out before your actual working sets. And as the session goes on, and lesser demanding movements, so smaller movements, isolation movements, etc., and movements later on in the session, you're going to be required to warm up less. So you might not even be warming up for your rear delt row or your rear delt fly at the end of a back day. You don't really need to. Your back and rear delts are already warm. But earlier on in the session, bigger movements take more time warming up.
Good answer. Perfect. Right. That's the podcast, guys.
Will Razzo asked me, just so we've like nailed them all, and then we've got a fresh start. Yeah. Will Razzo, Finn, how often would you say that you speed? I guess we can answer that.
Well, the other day.
Yeah, we had a race the other day.
Yeah.
Well, not really, did we? I'd say I speed on the motorway, but only when like, I know that it's quiet and there's no cameras and stuff. But yeah. I don't know, mate. I don't count. Like, oh, I'm speeding now. That's once today. Or, like,
I speed every time. I think everybody speeds. Like, I think me and you speed every single time we drive. But
yeah, but not to like
we don't drive just like
we're not like going 90 down a 30.
Yeah,
we're like going 36. And
I've never thought to myself, oh my god, you speed so often. I just be like, I just drive and I just drive around. That's what it is. Sometimes I go over the speed limit. Sometimes I probably go under the speed limit. And it's like I just drive, bro. So yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's the answer. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, sorry, Will. Probably should have just wrapped it up before that.
I know, but I thought we'd get it done.
Yeah, and
what,
you're going to mention it on the check-in. Like, hey, mate, you didn't answer my question. Is everything okay? God. Right, that's it, guys.
You don't have to find the old questions next week.
That's it. Thanks as always. Get us to 350 subscribers, please. 1346.
And 700 followers on Spotify, please.
Please, sort us out. So yeah, that's that. Back to normal, I think now, which is nice for a week.
Episode 108 done.
Yeah, which is cool. So yeah, right. See you later, guys. Catch you next week.